this will be digitally out there for thousands and thousands of years, if you think about it.
Yeah.
You know? If we only had this kind of technology back around the time of the crucifixion, we might have a better... I ponder things too much. Dimitri Downing back at Mita Unshackled with George
Stanchev, Pure 5, faster, better extraction of cannabis.
The co-hostess with the mostess. And we have another cool, Benzinga's buzzing. There's people moving everywhere. There's great companies. There's industry leaders. There's a lot of talk about a lot of different things. And again, another one of these wonderful Mita podcasts. We get to introduce you to a couple of people that we met here at the show. Actually, we've known each other from before the show, but are doing some really cool things with their companies and tell you about their journey into cannabis and what their companies are now and their new projects, etc. So let's start by introducing you to Dustin. How you doing?
I'm doing well. My roots are all the way back in Arizona.
Yep.
I went to U of A. I grew up in Tucson, and I cut my teeth.
Where'd you in high school?
Mountain View.
Mountain View. What year?
2001.
Did I know that?
Dun dun
I
dun.
went to Amphi.
No shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Let's go on. Sorry, go ahead.
Practically neighbors.
Yeah.
But I cut my teeth in the cannabis industry before it was popular in the late 90s into the 2000s. I was we'll say a spirited guerrilla grower until the police asked me to stop. Now, thankfully, it didn't ruin my life. Flash forward, I had the opportunity to jump in, and I had a sweat equity cut in Hydrotech, Arizona. So I found it.
Hydrotech, Arizona. What year was that?
That was 2014. I founded that hub, and I blew the hub up. We went from having no funds to we were cash positive within a year and a half, and by year 3, we were making at least $4 million a year.
And what was happening in Hydrotech? What did you guys do there?
We were selling. We were like a smaller version of Sunlight Supply at the time. So we didn't sell Gavita. We sold Agrilux lighting, which both those brands were bought by Hawthorne. So that's really what happened. Is I built up my name in the industry. I became known for being a lighting guy, and then Hawthorne bought everybody.
Yes, is Hawthorne buying everybody?
No, Hawthorne's
still.
Hawthorne is struggling.
Are they? They're not doing as well. I wouldn't.
Yeah, they're struggling. They probably have about 10% of their sales force left.
Wow.
In the past, it was it's a downturn in the market.
People are shutting down cultivations and stuff.
Yeah, things are becoming tougher, and while things are booming, as we know, during the explosive cannabis market, money was easy, and now we're in a recession, so it gets tougher.
Yeah.
So where are you with? Who are you with now?
So now I am with Philips LED.
How did you? The Philips?
The Philips, yes.
Like
Which everyone's wondering.
The Philips from like the 70s and 80s? Philips?
Yeah, as in like you buy your light bulbs, all your medical equipment. We're that $8 billion conglomerate around the world. So our Horty division does about $200 to $300 million in sales into various different hort projects, food production, ornamental flowers. Cannabis has been a sticky wicket because we are a global company. We have to not piss off nation states that may be partnering with us.
Right.
So it's a slow process, but we are now officially promoting ourselves into cannabis.
Yeah.
And that's why we are here at Benzinga.
Philips. Wow, that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
How long have you been with Philips?
I've officially been with them for 6 months, but I sold their products via my relationship with Agrilux for about 3 years.
And so, do they have like a cannabis team, or how do they structure it under Philips?
We're all around it. I don't just do cannabis jobs.
Yeah.
I work with Syngenta, genetics producers, large-scale veggie producers. But cannabis is certainly one of my fortes, and it's a passion of mine, and it's something that will always be part of my life and part of my focus. And Philips is ultimately like it's the cream of the crop. It's where I want to be. So we're here at Benzinga specifically to let people know that we're officially here, and we are offering financing via our Dutch banking partners.
So you guys are offering financing for lights.
Correct, for lights.
Via your partners. Sorry
Yes.
about that.
And
My phone.
working at Hawthorne and being involved in just about every commercial build, I've seen the financing that's out there. It's usually about 20%. It's typically loan sharking rates. Ours is the same financing that we offer, say, large-scale food producers.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're going to sell 100,000 fixtures up into a tomato producer up in Canada, we offer them the same financing. It starts at 5.5%.
Wow.
6 months no pay when the lights show up on site. 5-year term, 10 payments, and uncollateralized.
That's a pretty damn good offer. And I want to talk about the quality of the product and the differentiators between lights. But first, I want to introduce Deontay to the audience, give him a chance to introduce yourself. And you guys ask each other questions.
Yeah.
That's the tough part. The unexpected questions. So Deontay, you're with Vibesbnb. Vibesbnb.
Yes, sir.
And what is that?
So Vibesbnb is a cannabis-friendly platform that we built for short-term rental and.
You gotta get a little closer here.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah.
So yeah, Vibesbnb is like a cannabis-friendly marketplace platform for short-term rental hosts and Airbnb hosts in this all over the world, pretty much. We do we let people list their properties onto our marketplace that allows properties to be cannabis accessible, so that when people travel, they'll have more cannabis-friendly options to explore, as opposed to not knowing the rules when you go to Airbnb and you search up different properties and you're not necessarily sure what the cannabis rules are. Smoking and non-smoking is really obscure.
Right.
So we're building a solution for hosts to have more flexibility with their users about the specific amenities that they offer in the cannabis field.
Is it launched yet, or are you operational?
Yeah, we're launched. We're operational. We launched on 420 at 2021.
Last year, 2 years ago.
Last year. We've been doing really good this year. We did 225 listings, 26 states.
225 in 26 states. Anything internationally?
I mean, Jamaica, Thailand, we've had some people reaching out to us from those areas that, when Thailand announced that they were going legal, I had some people reach out to me from an article that got posted about me. And people are reaching out to me from different states to actually list their properties on the website.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, I dig it.
It's really good. We did $110,000 last year in 9 months. Average of 30 to 50 bookings a month. And our average booking value is about $517, and we have like about 1,600 users so far. So we're doing really good.
That sounds like you should be on Shark Tank or something.
Yeah, I know. That's the goal. We're trying to get there, man.
I got family members that can't travel without cannabis due to health conditions.
Right.
They would 100% use your service.
No, right.
And you're non-plant touching.
Sometimes I like to tell cannabis is going to be $35 billion industry by 2025, and now that all of the states are giving more legal and medical options to people, automatically, where do you go to book a 420 friendly reservation? There isn't really an answer for that. It's not Google, it's not Airbnb. So we want to be the all-in-one marketplace for all cannabis-related information, but focusing on short-term rentals first.
That's really interesting. And how does it work? You go there, you book the property, and you find it in a drawer?
Right.
Can you smoke in the bedroom?
No.
So eventually, what we're doing first is we built a mobile app and a website, so you can go on the website.
It doesn't come with the cannabis.
Not yet.
Okay.
Once it becomes, we're waiting for recreational legalization so that we can turn on our bud option on the app.
That's a premium membership.
Yeah, premium membership. Right. That was my guy saying we're going to be installing some memberships soon, so people can have access to more benefits and more features and things like that. But it's an amazing thing. We're a part of a social equity initiative, and we're just bringing more business opportunities to the forefront. So
where are you based out of?
So we're based out of Miami here. We're local to Miami. 76 properties here with about 20 different hosts in this area, but we're looking for more hosts that want to open up their properties to be more cannabis accessible.
Now, is there like a difference between vaping allowed / flower allowed, smoking allowed?
So on the platform, via house rules and filters, you'll be able to see which host allows wake and bake experiences, which ones want designated smoking areas outside. You go to a mansion that's like, $1,000 a night. They probably gonna want you to smoke outside because the insurance is gonna be crazy if you damage something.
Yeah.
But for the most part, that's it.
That's a really, really great concept. What were you doing before you started that?
So I've been an Airbnb host since 2016.
It's one of those guys. They know things like the level of expertise and
Yeah.
they bring it to the cannabis space.
Yeah,
Okay.
man. And being an Airbnb host, I started by just renting a 1-bedroom, and then eventually a lot of people just said, "Man, I got canceled because of bringing my 5 grams of bud." So before this, I was doing Uber and Lyft. And then that's how I found out about Airbnb. When I did my first Airbnb drive, somebody's like, "Oh, you should try out Airbnb," and I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And then 12 months later, I started this whole new venture that's been 3 years successful now. So
yeah, people must be like really supportive. Are you looking for investors? Is that what you're doing?
So
here at Benzinga?
I'm already sponsored by a nonprofit that made the app for me. So now we're looking for an actual financial partner to take us into all of the states instead of just Florida. We want to develop a good ground here in Tampa, Orlando, St. Augustine, Kissimmee, Orlando, Jacksonville, and then go to Atlanta, Jersey, Vegas, New York, California, Colorado. So yeah.
That's pretty cool. What do you think, Dustin? I mean, you've been around for a while. You've seen some different stuff.
I think it's awesome. Like I mentioned before, I have some family members that have health conditions that dictate where they can and can't go.
Right.
So sometimes they can't. Like it's my brother's wife. She just can't go with him to some places. And if they can plan this out for their vacations, it's immediately usable, because that is a hassle for anyone where cannabis is a must-have.
Right. Absolutely. We know that cannabis is a big deciding factor on where people stay now, just because of it becoming more accessible medically and recreationally across all these states.
So you don't use the actual Airbnb platform. You had to redo the whole thing.
So I use both personally, because if you're going to be in the hospitality industry, you're going to use all of the available tools to keep your house booked.
Right.
But we're just an additional OTA, like an online travel agency. We want to just be the go-to for cannabis travel. So if people want to plan a cannabis vacation, the first thing that they're going to do is go to the Vibesbnb website or the mobile app to at least find out where they're going to be staying. And then eventually we'll add experiences and different things to do that are also cannabis friendly.
And why Vibesbnb? I mean, it seems kind of obvious, but is there a particular...
Well, it's just good vibes, man. That's it.
Yeah.
Just sharing the good vibes in the house. It's really between the guest and the host. A communication standard. Everything is about communication when it comes to cannabis, because that's really what people are looking for. You can't go to Airbnb and talk about it through the app, because they ban you immediately as soon as you mention anything cannabis related. So we just opened up the communication aspect of it, and now people can be comfortable knowing that they can book someplace without having their stay canceled.
That's very, very cool. Well, we really appreciate it. You have a question?
Well, I bet you could partner with some farms.
Yeah. So
some farms, yeah.
Man, it's so hard because everything is still illegal, illegal federally. But once federal opens up and people can start to do things across the state lines, we want to partner with a lot of supply chain farms that can deliver straight to the Airbnbs via either dispensaries or mobile solutions that people open, like vans and trucks.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you meant farms pitch a tent out of the farm.
Well, not necessarily pitch a tent, but I mean, we're in a downturn right now, so some people are hurting, and if it's legally allowable, some folks might actually look to they would host people at, not in the cultivation, but maybe near it.
Yeah.
And so you could imbibe and be right there and have the cultivation experience.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I know we just had somebody earlier who's doing a new Denver hospitality social equity thing. You remember James yet?
Yeah. Is that the lounge, the cannabis lounge guy?
It's a new licensing. It's not the lounge licensing.
Okay.
It's actually a hospitality thing.
I've been to some place called Tetra Lounge in Denver. I think that's a cannabis lounge that they do over there.
Yeah.
That's the only person I know that does that consumption and stuff.
No, it's a really cool project. So you're looking for investors? Are you looking for strategic partners? What do you...
So the biggest thing that we're looking for right now is really media and press. I'm more brand awareness. A lot of people love the product. I just need it to be in front of more eyes.
Well, this will get you in front of 35,000 eyes. So.
Yeah, well, that's good. If you're a property host, or
we have a good reach.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, well, we get out there. He doesn't know Mita. Dustin knows Mita.
Everyone knows Mita.
Yeah, I know Mita now.
Okay.
Mita and Vibesbnb. Let's go.
So let's go back to Phillips on that note. I'm just kidding. But why is Phillips? You've been around lighting for a decade.
Yeah.
You know it like the back of your hand.
Yeah.
Why is Phillips better? What are the differentiators?
When being a cultivator, I always use Phillips products, and most cultivators have. They all started with double-ended lamps, which was invented by Phillips, and they use ceramic metal halides, which was invented by Phillips, and they're now using LEDs that are all copycats of Phillips products. Nice. It's less recognized in cannabis because Phillips is not a marketing company.
Right.
We're an engineering R&D firm. In fact, if you tell them, they say, hey, why don't we go aggressively market? It doesn't even register to them because our products sell so well on their own. But we do need to do a better job of putting that message out there so people understand that we are the originator for all the modern lighting that people are using in port.
So Phillips does LED.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's our exclusive focus. We're phasing out our HIDs. We still offer our lamps, but long-term planning, there will not be HIDs in 5 to 10 years.
Okay. So when all the because I remember when everybody started experimenting with LED in the cannabis space, 2011, 12, 13.
And those were all crappy aquarium diodes, and they ruined plants. Yes, that's when it started, and people got a really bad taste in their mouth. Yeah.
But the lights, the LEDs weren't made by Philips back then.
No, and even as Philips, we don't make the diodes.
Okay.
So like everyone sources the same Osram or Samsung diodes. We do make drivers, and people source those from us. The differentiator in the future is scope and ability to do research and intellectual property. The future is utilizing real data to produce tunable dynamic spectrums that will improve the crop. When your crops are outside, it's a dynamic spectrum. It's the sky filters the actual, like the frequency of light that you see. As it sunsets, it gets more red into far red. There's all these effects that are currently unknown and can't be triggered in the cultivation environment. Everyone says, I got white light, I'm going to set it and forget it, that's the best. It's not the best. The best will be proven through R&D. So we've actively been doing R&D into cannabis. We have over 6 R&D sites across the globe.
Nice.
That includes
Phillips has 6 R&D sites across the globe. Wow.
North America, Europe, and in Australia.
That's impressive.
Congratulations on that.
So ask any other lighting company that's in the cannabis space, ask them, do you have real R&D facilities that you fund with real researchers? And their answer will be no,
Right.
if they're being honest.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So I mean, all that, it's game over for everyone else.
I wouldn't go as far as game over, but I think that, hey, we're in a
The
downturn.
big dogs have arrived. What is,
Well, I mean, do you think, are there going to be any other Hawthorns going around buying Gavita and Lux Lighting for $200 million a pop? I think a lot of people saw those acquisitions happen, and it looks really enticing. And if you can go and make a splash on Instagram and get lots of eyeballs like these companies do, maybe they'll get bought. And I think that is a major goal for a lot of these brands.
so when did Phillips start getting more actively publicly involved?
It officially started in 2018, but it was very quiet. Like we've sold Glass House Farms. They're down in Southern California. I mean, you're probably familiar. They just acquired
I've
a
seen it, yeah.
105-acre howling. They're going to be the largest producer in the Southwest. We work with Michigan Pyramid up in Michigan. They're 200,000 square feet under glass. It's just, again, we're not loud. And in today's modern era, if you're not on Instagram, you're not totally loud. The impression people get is that you're non-existent.
Yes, that's absolutely true.
Yeah. And
Social media is very
it's just
important.
not our forte. Again, we spend all of our money on the research, on the R&D.
Right.
We want to own the intellectual property. And if we're a little bit slower to the market, it doesn't matter. Because in the end, like we're here. We're slow, but we're going to be here when most others are gone.
That, and I'll ask you this because I know there's a lot of types of cultivation, from sun to greenhouse with lighting, and indoor, just full-on lighting, all types of lighting kind of stuff. Where do you see the future? Do you see like a hybrid of sorts?
Yeah.
To,
I think that
because we had some New Jersey people on here, and they were converting a 60,000 square foot cultivation greenhouse, and they were adding lights, and I thought that would that seems to be the future rather than just indoor or greenhouse. You know what I'm saying?
I think indoor will always have a place, because for some people they really need that indoor to produce the top shelf.
Yeah.
But let's just say you have 100% of your grow. I would say in the end 10% goes towards that really high shelf flower.
Right.
The rest of it needs to be greenhouse or outdoor for your extract production.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, pay attention to what happens this year in Canada. I don't know if you're aware, but this is the first year that Colombia can export their cannabinoids to Canada.
Oh, yeah, really?
Yes.
Colombia can export their cannabinoids to Canada. What does that mean?
Oh,
What does that mean for the market? What do you
So,
think?
I mean, that means this is one of the first times where you have Colombia has a natural environment to produce excellent weed.
Right.
They can blow it up in fields and in inexpensive greenhouses,
Wow.
probably at price points that we cannot here in the U.S.
But those greenhouses will
or in
still have
Canada.
lights, though, right, to increase the.
Yes, some of them do,
Yeah.
but some of them don't. I mean, in the end, to get extract.
Okay.
You could blow it up with 100 acres in cannabis and still get the same molecule and use that in your extract pens. So it's going to come down to economy of scale, and it'll be interesting to see how global markets affects things, because we may get imports that come in. So then it makes sense. People will have indoor grows to produce high quality craft weed, but maybe we can't compete with the imports that are coming in from Colombia.
I'm waiting for my scientist to jump in here because
I was listening so carefully. That's a lot of things here.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a lot of things for you. I'm not a scientist, okay? So you got to help me out here. I'm thinking about the regulatory stuff and the market structure stuff and how it will change things. And it's so dynamic. But what do you think?
Well, my question is more on the technical side, like how people can choose a light. There is a light for vegetation, there's a light for germination, there's a light for blooming. What exactly they need to look into? What type of light is best? Maybe they're universal too.
Well, we have Well, we have the R&D to develop specific lights with specific spectrums, and now we're developing fixtures with tunable spectrums. We use software, usually Dialux or AGI32. Think of it as like CAD software, but for lighting, to where we can design the exact lighting, the exact placement to produce the exact amount of light per crop type that you need. So we have spectrums of light developed for certain types of lettuce and microgreens and so on and so forth, and we're developing those for cannabis as well.
So you can beat Colombia by the sunlight.
Well, you never know. It all comes down to regulation, like you're mentioning. Will the governments do some stuff to protect the companies here? We'll see. It's going to be a process, but Canada's kind of like the canary in the coal mine.
Right.
That's why I would keep an eye on. But to jump back to your original question, where is it moving? All growers need to consider themselves pro-hort growers, whether they're cannabis or not.
Pro what?
So hort growers.
Pro-hort.
Like there's a division in some people's mind. We're cannabis and we're not tomatoes. Yes, there's different considerations. You're growing oil when you are a cannabis grower, and you're not really doing that when you're a tomato. But from a business point of view, you have to pay attention to your inputs and your outputs, just like you're a standard pro-hort veggie grower. And I recommend all cannabis producers start going to hort or veggie-oriented shows like Cultivate, because you're going to see how things are presented in those markets, and it can be different. There is the you ever heard of the cannabis tax? Anyone ever heard that term?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, so growers will gripe about it. They'll go present, they'll talk with the company as a cannabis grower, and they'll get a price 30% higher than if they had just been pretending to be hemp or
Cannabis
lettuce.
bump,
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, that's
premium, cannabis premium,
Yeah, like start thinking lean like those guys who have made it growing tomatoes, lettuce, so on and so forth. And those guys that do that will win, and those guys that do that will probably have to utilize a lot of greenhouse and outdoor to make it tenable over time.
We got to talk, and because you are, look, I'm not thinking about going into cultivation, getting involved in lights, all that kind of stuff, but your knowledge blows my mind. Anybody who's thinking about doing something with lights should call you first, no matter what. That's pretty much clear.
I'm not going to say no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and tap your brain because, because there's we'll talk about afterwards about this project that I think you might want to be involved in.
Sure.
But Dustin, man, your level of expertise just blows my mind.
Yeah.
You have any questions for Dustin?
Yeah, how do people reach out to you?
Good question.
You know,
Facts,
We have
smoke
another
signals. We handle everything. But I mean, you can just reach me by reaching out. You can look up Signify, which is the official name for Phillips Horticulture. But you can just look me up on LinkedIn, Dustin Forney, DustinForney. There's probably only one or two of me with my last name on there.
And Deontay, how do people reach out to you?
So you can find me on Instagram, Vibesbnb, or check out the my personal Instagram, Deon_DEON_MACK.
Well, you guys, this has been another great example of the kind of people that you find here in the Benzinga community.
Yes, sir.
And we appreciate you guys being here. And we look forward to following your journey over the years, seeing how things progress. Next year, you come back, there's 500 listings.
Yeah.
And well, I don't know, Phillips is pretty big. I'm not sure what's up from there.
Well, as far as you and I are concerned, I'm coming back out to AZ, and I want to continue to talk with you and Mita about working together.
Yeah, definitely. So, thank you guys for joining us, and enjoyed the rest of the Benzinga show.
Yeah, shout out to Benzinga, man.
Yeah,
another second annual successful conference.
Like this isn't a slight against any other show, but this in terms of ratio of quality contacts I've had, this is the best show I've been at in 8 years.
Yes, sir.
Great individual. What? Scholarship. Oh, Benzinga scholarship. What's that?
Yeah, so I applied for the social equity scholarship here in Benzinga, and I got accepted. That's how I got the invitation to come here.
Bro.
Yeah. So last year we only had 93 listings, and then now I'm at 225 this year. So within 12 months, like I said, I gained over 150 different listings in 26 states. So they saw that as an actual, growth metric that I achieved from last year to this year. So they sponsored me this year just to be here.
Can I ask how old you are?
34. My birthday was last month.
I like that. I'm 50 years old. I like the discipline.
Yeah, no,
I like
man.
the feel.
I'm dedicating my next 10 years to this, so I want to continue to learn and be educated and just grow the Vibesbnb to be the best product out there.
Yeah,
I'm going to use it.
Yeah, for sure. I need to get some cultivation places, because there's a lot of people asking to tour grow houses and cultivation centers just to see how the lights work, how different things are put together. A lot of people that didn't know that you needed different lighting for germination and growing and curing and all these different things. So there's a big educational thing when it comes to people visiting our platform because they want to learn more about different things that are attached to it.
But you guys can hook up afterwards. This is one of the things we like doing in Mita Unshackled and introducing people.
Yeah,
So
for sure,
this
man.
is really, really cool.
Shout out to Mita
Thank you,
Podcast.
Dustin, Dante.
Yeah,
And we'll
good
see
vibes
you,
all
we'll see you
day.
soon. This has been another episode of Mita Unshackled.
All right.